everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. I think this is our second video for 2024. So welcome. How you doing? Come on in. I just finished a Bible study and it was amazing. So I'm on a good note. I'm feeling great. Just ready to get started and get this video done. And we got a lot to talk about. So I know a lot of people have seen the video, the leap, right? The physicality of it all to be able to leap over, right? And attack that judge. It's not a funny matter. It's really serious. So I'm going to bring you on the criminal, the legal side, what I think and how I feel. But we got to watch the video. So let me pull that first. And then we're going to unpack it all. I think, let me see. I don't know if I have a short one. I've watched the full video. I would have to say it's actually worth watching. The full video is probably about 30 minutes of the hearing where they talk about really his background. He talks about himself, what he has gone through. And one second. First off, this may be considered graphic. Before I turn this around and show you guys, the video itself may be considered graphic because it is an attack. You can't really see that much of the attack, just the leap, and then he kind of pulls the judge down, kind of in this area. So I'm going to say viewer discretion. If you're not able to handle and watch a video like that, you can click off now, and thank you for checking out this video. But in the full length of the video, the defendant really goes into length about kind of how he got here. He felt that, he was kind of short-tempered. He had tried to get some mental help before. He didn't even know he had a mental problem. And he had been sent to court twice for that, to try to get help as a deterrent, as an option versus being sentenced to prison time. But it didn't work. He has several charges. He has a past history that we're going to talk about. We're going to unpack everything about him and kind of what led up to this moment during the sentencing. Now, oddly enough, he actually told the judge, hey, even though I recently hired and I feel like I'm changing, I'm working towards this change, do what you have to do. If you feel you need to send me to jail, then do it. I understand. But he didn't mean it. This is like manipulation at its finest. You come in, you have all these opportunities, and you're changing your life, and you're changing the path, and you've made this great change because you're standing before the judge and you're about to be sentenced. But it's not true. It's manipulation. It's masquerading like you've changed and you really haven't. So he was speaking all of that, and the judge, she listened to it. She allowed him to get it all out. He was able to express himself completely. His attorney spoke on his behalf as well, but she wasn't buying what he was selling. She didn't believe it. Honestly, I didn't believe it either. He had been seen before this judge earlier in the year. So she was ready. She had her mind prepared and ready, and he was going to do some time. So she was getting ready to do the sentencing, and in an instant, it was so quick, after just a few seconds of speaking, he did not like when she said, we're going to have to change this. Basically, you're going to jail. And he explosively quickly jetted and leaped, and the attack has started. Now, there was, to his left and to his attorney's left, there was actual security guard to the left, slightly behind him, but he wasn't catching him. He athletically, physically he was out of there. He was running, leaped, and the attack was on. I believe now to the left of the judge, I believe that was her court clerk, possibly. If he had not quickly responded to drag him off of her, she may have been severely injured, like her head, her body. He was trying to stump her. When I say the defendant, he was trying to harm her, stump her. He snapped. He quickly acted with violence, extreme violence, and it took several officers and staff and others to subdue him. They had been struggling. I watched the full video. It's like 27 minutes. They had tried to subdue him for a good 15 minutes. There were at least 3 different men at different points trying to subdue him, to take him down, to actually cuff him and remove him from the courtroom. They couldn't do it. He was actively fighting, struggling with them, and it made it very difficult for them to remove him. The judge, she stayed on the ground for a long time. They were concerned, is she okay? Is she safe? She's not getting up. I think when they initially pulled him up, she stayed on the ground because he was trying to kick her in the head. He was kicking and fighting back, and maybe she hid under her desk. I don't know, because it took her a really long time to get up. And sadly enough, even though there were at least 3 men trying to subdue him, to restrain him, they had a hard time doing that. I don't necessarily believe there was an issue of security officers or protocol, because he was to the left. I think if something they want to consider, and I already know they know this, when you're having a sentencing and the person is going to be taken into custody, possibly, sometimes people are allowed to leave and take care of their affairs, and then they turn themselves in. But if he was being taken into custody, maybe 2 officers could have been physically, 1 on each side, or someone separating the defendant in between the judge with that kind of proximity. But I don't know if there was too much they could do with this defendant. It appears from his clothing that he had been out, so he was not in custody. He did not have handcuffs on. Now, could they take the measure and handcuff him if he's sitting there, or have another officer, 1 on each side, or 1 in between the judge, the bench, and the defendant? Yes, they can do more things. I don't know if they have enough staffing, right? They probably just have 1 officer per judge, because that's a funding issue. You have to employ these people and pay them a salary. And I don't know how many staff is assigned to each judge federally, because this was a federal hearing in a federal courtroom. So considering all of that, we know the position of the judge. We know the defendant. He had a white sweater on with some black print. So we're going to quickly see him swiftly run, leap, and begin the attack. The attack is only for a few seconds. But this has a lot of conversation going around. And I want to focus on a few things. I want to focus on some of the court procedure. Again, having security there. Where's the security standing? Should they be standing somewhere else? Should the defendant be cuffed? At a sentencing, should there be more security staff? Should the defendant be handcuffed during the hearing? The sentencing was to sentence him to apply the decision of where he would either receive prison time, probation, maybe refer to some services. So all of that was going to happen. So it had not been said and advised that he was going to prison, even if he was going to prison that day. So you have to consider this is an individual's mindset, their mind, their thoughts that led him to do it. And I don't know if you can anticipate the thoughts of every single individual. Can you handcuff all the defendants during the proceeding? Yes, but if the jury is seeing that, they're looking pretty guilty. that may be a sign of that they're a threat. So you have to think about all of those things. Even his attorney had some distance from him. It seemed to be 3 to 4 feet between him and his attorney. So he wasn't even close to him. And there was a chair like between them. So in looking at all of those things, I do not think they thought he would explosively respond the way he did, especially after he spoke and then physically attack the judge. So I think this might be a very rare case. I know we don't see this a lot. We do see bad courtroom behavior, but we don't see a lot of defendants physically trying to attack the judge, especially when we know law enforcement is there. Most of them will have a weapon, possibly a gun, things like that. So we have to look at and consider all of that when we're looking at this video. So I'm going to show the video, and then we have so many things to talk about. I'm trying to enlarge it so I can show the full view. And if you haven't seen the video, I have different versions of the video. So you can see it and really just check it out. I don't know how I cannot. I'm trying to enlarge it. I'm trying to see. Okay, well, let's try it again. I'm sure most people have seen this video. Like, it's not anything like new.
So you want to start a coding career?
Under the sun.
We can help with that.
Trying to enlarge it. So do I have to turn it around? I don't know. It's giving me a hard time.
We're Code Academy, and we've taught millions of people the skills they need.
I don't know how I'm supposed to do it. I'm trying to enlarge it. What I'll do, I tell you guys I'm terrible. You guys are going to really find out how bad I am with this technology. Oh, I'm terrible at it. I am like the worst. Okay, let's see. I know I found like a 1 minute video of it. Okay. Oh, it's already started.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court.
Okay. I'm going to stop it. You can check out the video. I implore you to check out the video that's 27 minutes long. It's the extended full version of the entire court hearing. You learn a lot about him. I can kind of remember them saying that he was in a foster home or something like that, and there was someone offering to, have him stay there still, even though he's an adult. He just started a new job, so he was wanting to maintain that. Just so many things that was trying to say, well, he's on the right track now. But sometimes people will try to kind of pull things together when they're going to court so they can have some positive things to say. They said that he did not have his high school diploma, but that was something that he could also look forward to doing. It seems that when they did the 2 referrals for the mental health support, he may have completed some programs, completed probation in the past, But again, if you're coming back before the court over and over again, that patience may wear thin. If you're presenting yourself with another violent charge, the judge was not having it. So let's talk about it all. Okay. So what I want to do, I want to read the articles because the articles, I found one really great article that was detailing some of his background a little bit more. We're going to go deeper into his background because I really want you to understand the mindset of this individual. Before he ever showed up for his sentencing, he had a past. And typically, as I've said before, notably about S offenders, certain people, they're going to carry this with them all the time, their past experiences. And if they're coming from this violent background, it's not going to change. It's not going to go away. When you go to prison, for example, you really don't get rehabilitated. What usually happens, you're among peers, among other criminals, people that have other offenses, and you may learn how to do other crimes. You might go in for maybe some petty theft, and now you learn loan sharking, or you learn bank fraud, or just different things, different crimes, because you're interacting and you're having discussions and you're talking about your criminal case, and they're discussing their case, and you're swapping information. Unfortunately, you can have opportunities there, high school, GED, some religious services, activities, but if a person engages in not trying to develop themselves more fully, they may come out of prison worse than when they were in prison, and they may have learned new skills. Prison is a form of punishment, but unfortunately, it's not a lot of rehabilitation going on. So let's talk about it all. So the first thing I want to do, I want to give the definition of sentencing. Okay. Now, a lot of us will already know what sentencing is. So when you have a person that has gone through the regular judicial process, at the end of that, if they are convicted or if they plead guilty, there's going to be a date and time set for a sentencing hearing. And the sentencing hearing is to discuss and advise the defendant of what is going to happen next. Meaning, there's a couple of options. So on the Hidden Horror Facebook page, I talk about the sentencing and some of the objectives of what sentencing does. Primarily, sentencing is the finality of the case. It's the closure of the case. It tells the defendant, okay, this is what's happening next. Sometime in the sentencing, you may have prison time. Sometimes you may have probation. Instead of going into a facility, you may be able to go home and be on probation for a certain period of time with restrictions. A restriction could be no drug use, not being around other offenders. It could be, submitting to a drug test. It could be going to rehab. It could be different requirements that you have to follow or adhere to. You may have some type of supervised release where you're reporting to a probation officer, for example, and you may be paying fines for that, for them to monitor you. Another part could be of your sentencing is restitution. If there was some type of loss, you may have a fee, an assessment. You may have to pay back something. Say, for example, you robbed a bank. You may have to pay that money back, and that'll be part of your restitution. You may have special fees assessed to you as part of your restitution. So all that comes into play. But on this website, sentencing.net, they have listed 5 objectives of criminal punishment. Okay? So I'm going to read this. It's dated March 15, 2019, and the writer is Brandon Sample. It says, we get hit and we hit back. is a primal instinctual reaction. It's a fundamental part of being human, yet what does that reaction signify? Most likely, we don't think deeply about it. Indeed, in the moment, the reaction is sudden, immediate, and done without contemplation. Sentencing objectives built into our instinct of self defense. Allow me to venture a guess, however, that the instinct to hit back comes from a certain set of instinctual needs that get processed almost immediately in the human brain. Those needs include the need to show the attacking individual, one, if he does something you don't like, then you will do something he doesn't like. Two, there are consequences for certain behavior, and that hitting someone will be met with an unpleasant reaction. Three, the reaction of hitting back will stop the person from his attack, at least temporarily. Four, he may choose never to hit someone again without provocation because of your reaction. And five, he may choose to even apologize for his unprovoked attack because of your reaction. Roughly speaking, those five instinctual needs are analogous to the way we discipline children. Children misbehave, and what do? We stop the behavior by sending the child to his room, taking away certain toys, and showing that bad behavior will be met with consequences the child does not like. Hopefully, the child will remember the consequences and choose not to behave in the same way in the future. In some cases, you may even have your child use their allowance to pay for something that may have been broken as a result of the bad behavior. The five sentencing objectives. Taken together, those principles of instinctual reaction or discipline translate easily into the five sentencing objectives our society relies upon when punishing those who break the law. Indeed, in the same way we keep our homes civilized through the appropriate discipline of children, our communities remain civilized through appropriate criminal punishments. Accordingly, those five sentencing objectives are: number one, retribution. Victims and their families are injured, either physically or emotionally, by a crime. Just in the same way we instinctually want to hit back, the criminal justice system uses sentencing as a way to hit a criminal back. While the punishment may not match the crime committed, it is punishment nonetheless. As noted above, committing a crime will be met with the state doing something the criminal does not like, typically in the form of taking away freedom or ordering stiff monetary penalties. Number two, deterrence. Another objective is both general and specific deterrence. Providing punishment for a crime demonstrates to the public generally that there are consequences for committing a crime. That puts the public on notice of what the boundaries of appropriate behavior are in society. In addition, the opposite side of the same deterrence coin is to send a message to the individual criminal that there are consequences for breaking the law. The hope is that the individual will choose not to commit a crime in the future as a result of his punishment. Incapacitation. Our criminal laws and the criminal justice system are meant to protect the public, to keep society civilized. Thus, another sentencing objective must be to protect the public, if necessary, through sentencing. As such, if a person commits a crime that demonstrates to society that the person cannot be trusted to behave appropriately or cannot control their actions sufficiently, then a person can be taken out of society or incapacitated for a period of time or permanently. The ultimate form of removing a person from society is the death penalty. A sentence of life imprisonment, however, is becoming the more favored approach in virtually all industrialized nations. Number four, rehabilitation. Those who have the put them in jail and throw away the key mentality often forget about this important sentencing objective. In fact, many participants in the criminal justice system forget about this sentencing objective as well. It should not be forgotten that many people can change if given the chance and the right circumstances. Accordingly, sentencing a person should be done with an eye towards helping him turn his life around if that is possible. These days, it is becoming clear that America's experiment with mass incarceration is a complete failure. Hopefully, rehabilitation will truly become a viable sentencing objective again, and people will be allowed to turn their lives around and rejoin society as productive citizens. The last one is number 5 is restitution. In addition to punishing the criminal, another sentencing objective is making the victim whole to the extent possible. Restitution can come in the form of restoring or repairing any damage on the victim. In other words, bringing the victim back as much as possible to his or her pre crime status. With some crimes, such as theft or burglary, restitution is relatively easy. The criminal can be ordered to pay back the victim or fix the broken window. With other crimes, of course, it may be impossible to make the victim whole. In those tragic cases, perhaps the punishment itself will bring some restorative justice to a victim's or the victim's family's emotional state. As you can see, the 5 stated sentencing objectives above match up quite neatly with those 5 instinctual needs that are satisfied by hitting back when we get hit. Society is a reflection of human nature, and social rules on punishment directly flow from the instinctual rules we already have built into us as humans. So, a lot of times I tell you guys that we want to reflect back to the community. We want to mirror the community. And I think this is kind of hitting on that just a little bit. So that's something to think about. Why are we sentencing people when they do that, when they do something wrong? These are, if we just look at adults, they're adults, they should be able to make decisions, make good choices. But the reality is, we have to have a balance in life. We cannot have people committing crimes and there's no punishment, because then everybody would be committing crimes, breaking laws, doing all kind of things that are wrong with no overseeing, okay? So we have to have that. So let's get back now to this case. And I want to go to the article. It's on CNN.com. It was updated January 4th, 2024. The writers are Joe Sutton, Holly Yan, Jessica Flynn, Sherry Mossberg, and Taylor Ramin. And the title is A Judge Gets Violently Attacked in Court by a Defendant During Sentencing, and a Marshal Suffers Significant Injuries. A Nevada judge was assaulted in court immediately after she denied a defendant's request for probation. Video from a Clark County District Court shows. Defendant Deobra Redden was in the Las Vegas courtroom Wednesday to be sentenced on a charge of attempted battery with substantial bodily harm, Clark County Court said in a statement to CNN. During the hearing, Redden and his attorney asked Judge Mary Kay Holthus for probation rather than time behind bars, saying the 30-year-old is getting his life back on track with a new job and plans to resume his education. Redden said he is addressing his mental health issues and trying to learn from my mistakes. Holthus then read the defendant's criminal history aloud in court, which included 3 felonies, misdemeanors, multiple domestic violence, robberies, attempted home invasion. You've got a lot going on, sir, the judge told Redden. Redding's attorney told the judge he believes his client could successfully complete probation. I appreciate that, the judge replied, but I think it's time that he get a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. Seconds later, Redding shouted, F that B, excuse me, and ran toward the judge, leaping over the bench and attacking her. Redding tackled Holthus to the ground and both disappeared from the camera's view behind the bench, the video shows. As others in the courtroom tried to restrain him, Redding screamed, F you both, excuse me, and threw several punches. The judge stayed on the ground for several minutes before standing up, appearing to say she hit her head. Hostess experienced some injuries, the initial court statement said. By Thursday, she was back at work but remained sore and stiff, Chief Judge Jerry Weezy told reporters. She is extremely grateful for those who took great action during the attack and thanks all of those who sent well wishes, Weezy said at a news conference Thursday. Hostess's marshal was taken to a hospital for a head injury, and a law clerk also taken to the hospital for a hand abrasion. Both were released, according to Weezy. Hostess was shaken up, as most people would be. A couple of bruises, Clark County District Attorney Steve Wolfson said Thursday, but I'm very, very happy that she's okay. We commend the heroic acts of her staff, law enforcement, and all others who subdued the defendant, the court said. We are reviewing all of our protocols and will do whatever is necessary to protect the judiciary, the public, and our employees. The court has met with the security contractor to bring in more guards and is assessing other updates to make the court more secure, Wisey said. Wednesday's situation is uncommon, he stressed. I agree, this is very unlikely to happen. Yeah. This is a very unique situation that, as far as I know, has never happened before with somebody supermaning over a judicial bench, Wisey said. CNN sought comment from Redding's attorney but did not immediately hear back. Redding is now charged with 7 counts of battery on a protected person. That's the judge. We'll talk about it. And battery, according to court records. He was expected to appear in court Thursday, but refused transport to his court appearance, CNN affiliate KTNV reported. The district attorney said his office is reviewing evidence and plans to file additional charges after the courtroom attack. Redding's next court date is scheduled for Tuesday. Okay, so that's the view from CNN, okay? Now, I want to get more of a local view. Remember, I always like to get the mainstream media, and then we go more local because it usually has typically more details. So this is from 8newsnow.com. It's dated January 4th. It was updated January 4th. The article is by David Charnes and Vanessa Murphy, and it's titled Las Vegas Judge Attacked in Court During Sentencing. 3-time felon was about to be sentenced before attack. A man attacked a Las Vegas judge in her courtroom Wednesday, forcing her to take cover and injuring a marshal in the process, the video 8 News Now investigators obtained reveals. Deobra Redden, 30, a 3-time felon, was in Clark County District Court Judge Mary K. Posters' courtroom for sentencing on a charge of attempted battery with substantial bodily harm, records said. Around 11 a.m., Holthus was sitting behind the bench when Redden ran up to her, jumped over the bench, and attacked her. Video shares with the 8 News Now investigators show several other people being fought with Redden before throwing him to the ground. An alarm also sounded for several minutes, alerting others to the incident. So that's probably a duress panic button. So if something happens, if they need quick action, help, more security support, you're going to press that button and that will call down for more staff to come. The 8 News Now investigators first published the video on 8newsnow.com. Before the attack, Redden's attorney asked Holthus to sentence his client to probation. Holthus then said, "I think it's time he get a taste of something else." On April 23rd, Redden threatened to bust the kneecaps of another man, resulting in substantial bodily harm, documents said. See how we get these details? Okay. In May, a different judge ordered Redden to undergo a competency determination, record said. Redden was then committed to a state behavioral facility. A judge then found Redden competent in October. Redden pleaded guilty in November. Judge Holthus issued a bench warrant for his arrest in December after he missed a court appearance. Redden was booked into the Clark County Jail on new charges of battery and battery on a protected person. One count of the battery on a protected person charge indicated the victim was substantially harmed. He was doing court on the new charges at 9 a.m. Thursday. Voters elected Holthus to the bench in 2018. She previously worked for the Clark County District Attorney's Office. She often hears domestic violence and assault cases. Holthus hit her head but was okay, sources said. A court spokesperson said Holthus' injuries were being monitored. A marshal was taken to a hospital with a large gash to his forehead. He was listed in stable condition as of Wednesday afternoon, a spokesperson said. "We commend the heroic acts of her staff, law enforcement, and all others who subdued the defendant," the courtroom spokesperson added. "The court remains committed to a safe and secure courthouse and courtrooms. We are reviewing all of our protocols and will do whatever is necessary to protect the judiciary, the public, and our employees." Redden was previously in front of Holthus on charges of malicious destruction of property. Records show he served prison time on a domestic battery charge for a year starting in 2021. In that case, a different judge sentenced Redden to prison for a term of 12 to 30 months. A board granted Redden parole in 2022. "Thank God the judge is okay," Clark County District Attorney Steve Wolfson said in a statement. "Thank God for the heroic efforts of those who came to her aid, especially her marshal and her law clerk. Without them, the situation would have been much worse, as this defendant exhibited extremely violent behavior, and I'm confident there will be consequences. Sending our sincerest well wishes to District Judge Mary K. Holthus and the marshal injured in her courtroom today," Democratic Nevada Attorney General Aaron Ford said in a statement. "Your dedication to justice and the courtroom are truly commendable. We wish you both a swift recovery." This is what the judge looks like. You see a better picture over here. I hope y'all can see that. That's what she looks like, okay? So she was injured, as well as her law clerk and her marshal. Redden's attorney did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Okay, so we got both angles of that. Now, let's learn a little bit more about the defendant. Now, this is also by 8 News Now investigators. This is by David Charnes, and this was January 4th. "Man on video attacking Las Vegas judge was granted probation multiple times, once by the same judge." Let's go for it. The man recorded on video attacking a Las Vegas judge in her courtroom Wednesday was sentenced to probation multiple times, once by the same judge, and also once bit a woman, according to documents the 8 News Now investigators obtained. As the 8 News Now investigators first reported, Deobra Redden, 30, a 3-time felon, was in Clark County District Court Judge Mary K. Holthus' courtroom for sentencing on a charge of attempted battery with substantial bodily harm. Holthus was about to deny Redding's probation request when Redding ran up to her, jumped over the bench, and attacked her. Video shared with the 8 News Now investigators showed. Several other people then fought with Redding before throwing him to the ground. It was a real struggle in there. Redding, who appeared in court with his mother, has 3 felony convictions and 9 misdemeanor convictions on his record, according to documents the 8 News Now investigators obtained. In 2012, Redding was convicted of assault causing bodily injury to a family member. A judge sentenced him to 45 days in jail and a time, documents said. In 2013, Redden was convicted 3 times for domestic battery. Documents said he was ordered to attend anger management class, spend 2 months in jail, and pay a fine in the 3 cases. In 2014, Redden was convicted for attempted theft. Documents said a judge sentenced him to probation, which he violated several times. Redden then entered a mental health court program. While on probation, Redden was twice convicted of domestic battery, tampered with his alcohol monitoring bracelet, and violated other terms, documents said. He was also charged with kicking a police officer in the knee. Also, during his probation in 2018, Redden was convicted of battery with substantial bodily harm. In that case, he bit a woman and broke the windows of a man's car with a rock, documents said. Again, a judge sentenced Redden to probation. A judge honorably discharged him from probation in 2020 and 2021. In 2021, Redden was convicted again for domestic battery. In that case, a different judge sentenced Redden to prison for a term of 12 to 30 months. A board granted Redden parole in 2022. Also in 2021, I'm getting tired, y'all, because this is a lot. Also in 2021, police charged Redden with attempted home invasion and destroying the property of another person, documents said. It was unclear if Redden's arrest for these charges happened before he was remanded into custody. Let me show you a picture of him, because you can't really see his face when he's doing the leaping. That's what he looks like. That's what Mr. Redden looks like, okay? In January of 2023, Redden appeared before Holthus on the 2021 charges. Redden pleaded guilty and Holthus released him without having to pay bail. That February, Holthus sentenced Redden to a year of probation, records said. Redden violated his probation in October, and Holthus ordered him to serve 106 days in jail. It was unclear why Redden was released before the January 3rd incident, or if he even served any of the jail time. On April 23rd, Redden threatened to bust the kneecaps of another man with a baseball bat, resulting in substantial bodily harm, documents said. In May, a different judge ordered Redden to undergo a competency determination, records said. Redden was then committed to a state behavioral facility. A judge then found Redden competent in October. Redden pleaded guilty in November. Judge Holthus issued a bench warrant for his arrest in December after he missed a court appearance. During Wednesday's court appearance, Redden's attorney asked Holthus to sentence his client to probation. The prosecutors asked Holthus to sentence Redden to 19 to 48 months in prison. Basically, I would like to tell the courts and everyone here, based on my criminal history, I feel that like I shouldn't be sent to prison for a sentence time, Redden told Holthus before the attack. Have you looked at your criminal history? She asked him. I looked at it. I just looked at it, Redden said. You lived it, I suppose, Hostess said. 3 felonies, a gross misdemeanor, 9 misdemeanors, multiple domestic violence convictions. You got a lot going on, sir. I'm in a better place in my mind. In my mental health, I have a support system. I just got hired a teamster for the union making $20 an hour, Redden said. The reason behind every single domestic violence, I've been dealing with mental health, and I didn't know that I was dealing with mental health. And they put me in my mental health court, and I still didn't know that I had a mental health problem. Listen up, people. Listen up. If you see the signs of mental health, get out and get away early. You do not want to be harmed due to someone's mental health, their instability in their mind. You don't have a lot of power and control in that. Get out, get away. If you see somebody with mental health problems such as this. Okay. Redden appeared to accept the fact. Hostess appeared to weigh on his prior convictions in her determination. I feel like I shouldn't be sent to prison, but if it's appropriate, then you have to do what you have to do, Redden said. That's manipulation, y'all. That is a lie. This man don't want to go to jail. Redden was booked into the Clark County Jail on new charges of battery and battery on a protected person. One count of the battery on a protected person charge indicated the victim was substantially harmed. He was due in court on the new charges at 9 a.m. Thursday. A court spokesperson said Holtz's injuries were being monitored. A marshal was taken to a hospital. He was listed in stable condition as of Wednesday afternoon, a spokesperson said. Let's watch the video again. Let's see if I can get it to play. I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying to see. I don't know why it keeps stopping me. I'm probably touching it by mistake.
This is time set for entry of judgment, imposition of sentence, or a legal cause or reason why judgment should not be pronounced against you at this time. The virtue be pleaded guilty, I hereby judge you guilty of attempt battery with substantial bodily harm. My notes indicate the state retained the right to argue through the bench warrant. Is that correct? Yeah. All right, state. Yep. right, restitution or victim impact. Mr. Redden, is there anything you want to say on your own behalf before we pronounce sentence?
So basically, how would I tell
Have you looked at your criminal history? Have you looked at your criminal history?
actually just I look at it.
I mean, you lived it, I suppose. Yeah. 3 felonies, a gross, 9 misdemeanors, multiple DVs. Got a lot going on, sir.
Yeah, I just feel like
Battery on a protected person, robberies, attempt home invasion. Go ahead, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just.
I just figure I'm a better face in my mind. I have a support system. I just got hired as a legal firm for, the union, making $2 an hour. And like the reason behind every single domestic violence, I've been dealing with mental health. I didn't know that I was dealing with mental health. They put me in mental health court, and I still didn't know that I had a mental health problem until it was August 2022 that I realized I had a problem with this. And like having a dictionary, understanding myself, getting to know myself a little better, and finding my personality, and having a meal at that moment. Instances and just like trying to learn from my mistakes, I feel like I shouldn't be sent to prison, but it's appropriate for you then you have to do what you have to do. But I figured that if I'm in a better place in my life, I'm not doing drugs, I'm not out there doing crimes now, and I feel like I should give him a shot because I'm in a better place than I was then. So that's I'm a person who never stops trying to do the right thing, no matter how hard it is. And I just, and I'm trying to never give up on the right thing. I'm not a rebellious person. I don't want to be standing there. I want to have to sit up there and waste your time as well, I've got the criteria of me saying this is that I'm a person that never stops trying to do the right things. It's hard.
Thank you. Mr. Amasi.
Judge, as contained in the pre-sentence investigation, it's great. Speaking with him, it's really seems that it's wrong. This court is it's on medication.
You had 2 goes at mental health court. Mr. Amasi.
He does have to honor discharge of probation and do probation. Success was but the same discharge of probation was supervised for was very recently. He is in a different position. His foster mother, who is present, as he shows in court, is prayer, has provided him a place to live. Listen up to this. It's a great address and we administered with Las Vegas. And she very graciously has allowed him to stay with her for free on his feet. He is now part of Union 63 Watts producers and is working through that program. He's also reached out to Shannon West for prospects that were available to read that. Finally, Judge, it's not just his mental health, it's been pathetic, but he also has a history of IED in his education. And at 30 years old, he does not have a high school degree. And so we spoke about that as well, and I think it's high time that we did that. Working for us in this world for probation. I think he's worth this risk. It's more than us to be back for 4 years and testify by the VA. I would have no issue with that. He's suspended rather than just sent to prison. motion successfully approve this item.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court will-
Don't do this. Hey, where's Mary Kate? Is she okay? Hey.
Oh, shit. Stay down. Get on the ground. Is she talking?
Okay, it's another 2 minutes long, but it just continues on with that. I wanted to.
Hey, you come here. I'll take care of that. That's my guy. Come on.
I just wanted to show it again, so you could get some more of the background. So he had a foster mother, even though he's a grown adult, that he was living with, that was there and showed up in court to kind of show him some additional support. He had a job that he was going to start with the Teamsters, and that he wanted to seek now his high school diploma or GED. So that was something that they were trying to kind of highlight to demonstrate, well, he has all of this going on, and we could defer a sentencing if he's not on the right track. But the judge was not having. She said it's time for him to get a taste of something different, and he's going to go to jail. So I want to discuss as my last piece, when they were saying you're charged with battery of a protected person. So I have this detailed information on the Hidden Horror page, and I want to go over it because I think it's important. There's a link to lvcriminaldefense.com, and it's about what a protected person is in Nevada. So in the state of Nevada, this is what we can learn about what a protected person is. This is a gross misdemeanor offense punishable by jail time, hefty fines, and a criminal record that will follow you for years into the future. What exactly is battery against a protected person? According to Nevada Revised Statute Section 200.481, someone can be charged with committing battery when they intentionally inflict substantial bodily harm on another person. Additionally, Nevada recognizes certain protected classes against whom committing a battery is even worse than battering a non-protected individual. If you are convicted of battering a protected person, the punishment is typically more severe than battering a non-protected person. In Nevada, the following types of individuals are considered to be in a protected class concerning incidents of criminal conduct: police officers, firefighters, first responders, sporting officials at sporting events, correctional officers, healthcare workers, judges, state officials, taxi drivers, public transit operators, school employees. What must be established to convict you of committing battery against a protected person? If you are charged with committing a battery against a protected person, do not give up hope. There are various potential defenses that could be raised to challenge the charges. And of course, the burden is on the government to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty of battering a protected person. Here are the legal elements that must be established to convict you. There's evidence that you actually battered another person. You intended to commit the battery against the person. The other person falls into the aforementioned protected class and was working in this protected capacity at the time of the battering. And you knew or should have known that the other person was a member of a protected class. If you are convicted of battering a protected person, the penalty is a gross misdemeanor. This offense is punishable by having to serve up to 1 year in a county jail, having to pay a $2,000 fine, or both. If you were on probation or parole at the time the incident occurred, then the offense escalates to a Category D felony. The punishment for a Category D felony, including a prison sentence of between 1 and 4 years, a $5,000 fine, or both. So I believe because he was on parole or probation at the time, he could face the 1 to 4 years and up to $5,000 fine. And I think they're going to give it to him. This video has been seen everywhere, all over. People are talking about it in the legal arena. Honestly, you do not hear of too many occasions where a judge is physically and violently attacked as Mary Kay Holthus was attacked. It was on video, so the full attack from beginning, inception to they restrained him is completely on video. He cannot really deny it. He may want to fall on a sword and just plead guilty. He says he has some mental health issues. Maybe he could go down that rabbit hole and see if that takes him anywhere. But honestly, I don't think he has legs to stand on in this particular incident. So many witnesses, multiple battery charges against either if that was the court clerk or a law clerk that tried to restrain him initially. Then you have the marshal, the U.S. Marshal, being injured, as well as it appeared to be 1 or 2 additional from the angle that we saw. I know there was various angles in the courtroom, but from the angle that we could see on the camera view, 1 to 2 additional people that tried to intervene and stop the attack. What I find very interesting is the foster mom. I believe this is her voice screaming for people, do not hurt him. Do not harm Mr. Redden. Mr. Redden was the aggressor. Your foster son is the aggressor, is the attacker. And you want people to be, lenient on him, not harm him, consider him. They could have easily used deadly force to subdue him, but they did not. I think we have to stop with continually creating these ideas that somehow when we have dangerous, bad family members, people that we know and we overlook the behavior. This is really how he has been able to go on so long with all of these felonies, all of these violent acts, not spending any time in prison, does not have a place to live. You can do all of this. Why can't you work 2 or 3 jobs? You can do all of this in and out of the legal system. But you don't even have a home to go to. You know, you're an adult now. Take responsibility. Be accountable. Stop standing up for people when they are doing wrong, when they are up to no good. Stop standing there. Stop supporting them. Turn your back. Close your door. Let them help themselves. Because we can't honestly keep supporting, keep helping people when they're off doing wrong. That is not right. It's not right. I'm hearing the screams. I'm wondering, who is the screaming? Even the judge isn't screaming. And you're screaming for people to not harm Mr. Redden? I can't agree with that. I can't support that. Sometimes we bring things on ourselves from our own actions, our own free will. We bring it upon ourselves. And to me, right is right and wrong is wrong. And again, he's already being sentenced, and now he's committed another violent offense. The judge was right. He has actually proven her to be right. Now, he will have to serve some time, and additional time too, for these batteries, assaults, offenses. And I say, so be it. I don't think he deserves any type of plea deal. No, I don't. No, I can't support that. So I just wanted to cover the case from the different angles. A lot of the people that were sitting in the vestibule, they were probably there for a different case. So it was quite a few people, but I know the foster mother that raised her hand like this, she was there for him, but he didn't have any other support. So those other people sitting in the vestibule area, they were probably there for other cases that are coming behind this one on the judge's docket. Then again, I didn't feel like there was any wrong protocol. Could they slightly change some things if they're able to add additional guard, possibly handcuff the defendant when they know that there's going to be a sentencing, maybe stand between the bench and the defendant, keeping some separation. He was to the left, so maybe if he had moved forward, some he would have been more in between them. I don't know how much more could have been done. I rarely ever see anything like this in a courtroom, so I think it was very unusual, but it is getting a lot of attention across the country, and it's just due to overall violent acts increasing in the workplace, at schools, on airplanes, in public places. There's just overall more violence. People are frustrated. People are angry. They're upset. They don't have any patience. They have road rage. They're always in a hurry. People have very short fuses now, and you're just seeing people explode. You're seeing just maddening things when people are out fighting, arguing, disagreeing, with employees at stores, just so much now. So again, as my motto says, stay smart, stay safe, stay savvy. This is hidden horror for a reason. You never know what someone else is thinking. Be careful, be well, my friends. Thank you for checking out this video, and I hope to see you in an upcoming video. Be well. Bye all, my friends. Thanks for watching.